Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast, The Best Possible Me, where we look at relationship dilemmas, try to open different viewpoints and perspectives in hope that if everyone does this, we all become the best possible me. Hi, I'm Cindy.
And I'm Ayala.
Welcome to our new episode. This will be episode 12.
Yes, and today we will talk about should I forgive my father-in-law for what happened at my wedding?
Interesting. Yeah, we have lots of in-law relationship and the wedding. We've talked a lot about that, but today's story is a bit different than the ones that we talk about.
So do you want to read this story too?
Okay. Yes. So I'll read the story. I, 32 female, married my husband, 32 male, this past May. We'd been together for a little over 5 years before tying the knot, and for the most part, I've always gotten along well with his family, except for his father. It's not that we've never had an outright conflict, but I genuinely dislike him and have no respect for him. He has a serious attitude problem and tends to believe a lot of misinformation he finds online. For example, he fully believed that ivermectin was a cure for COVID. Physically, due to his size, he spends most of his time in a recliner and needs a cane to walk short distance, or a walker with a seat for longer distance. I'm not trying to shame him for that, but it's relevant to the situation. For context, this is my husband's second marriage. His first ended after his ex-wife cheated. We met about 8 months after his divorce. The issue started at our wedding. During the rehearsal dinner and the ceremony itself, my father-in-law was visibly pouting and looked absolutely miserable the entire time. Then when it came to the time for family photos after the ceremony, he stood up from his walker and snapped at the photographer. He threatened to sue her if any photos of him ended up online, insisting he had never had a photo online and planned to keep it that way. The photographer rightfully stood her ground and assured him that the family photos wouldn't be posted. He proceeded to scrolling every single photo. It's been months since the wedding, and I still refuse to look at him, speak to him, or be around him beyond occasional family dinners. My husband's family also has a lake house, but I won't go if his dad is there. He just plants himself in a recliner in the living room the entire time, and I have no desire to be around him. Some people say my feelings are valid, while others tell me I should be over it by now, but I'm just not.
Okay, interesting.
So that's the story.
Interesting. And it's really problematic because of relationships with in-laws generally. And you, on one hand, expect that there will be some kind of mutual respect. But does that mean that you actually have to like them?
Well, you don't have to. There's, like we talked in our previous episode, relationships always go both ways.
Yeah. And actually, if she's so cold and hardly talks to him, how does he feel towards her? We don't really know.
He would for sure notice the change. You know what I'm saying? Like before the wedding, if she used to go to the lake house, but now she said, oh, they have a lake house, I used to go, but now I refuse to go if he's there.
Yeah.
Then obviously the other party is going to notice the change.
And I'm sure that her husband is feeling
in between.
the change and feels possibly even somewhat torn, wanting to continue having a relationship with his parents and her not coming with him very often.
That would impact on him as well.
Yep. And not only impact on him, but impact also on him and his relationship with his parents, because it doesn't mean that he won't go and see them, but possibly not as often.
And what's the excuse he needs to come up to explain to his parents that she's not there? Is she working? Is she has something else planned? Or for sure he's not saying, oh, my wife doesn't want to see you, that's why she's not coming.
Yes. So it does put him in a bit of an awkward place. And it raises the question of forgiving just to keep the peace and a future relationship. And I understand that it's hard for her because she's very angry. And she talks about her anger. And she's saying that she wants to forgive, but she actually can't. But then there is a whole element that really, once you forgive someone, you can move on. And as long as you don't forgive, you're stuck with the same issue in your mind.
Right.
So in a way, by her not forgiving, it means that this is something that is constantly on her mind, constantly bugging her, constantly getting her angry. So there's something about forgiveness generally that allows you to let go.
Right. Okay. Yes, I do agree with your point there, but I think we should pause and take a small step back of looking at the story. Is where does her anger coming from? I think we talk about what's the impact on the father-in-law, what's the impact on the husband, what's the impact on blah blah blah, and her forgiveness. But where does this come from? She did not have a good experience on her own wedding. And was she ashamed or embarrassed by the way that her father-in-law was behaving and the things he was saying? How about that impact on her? And
Yes.
was the father-in-law aware of this impact?
That's a good question. Of was he aware, and did he do it on purpose or not? Which
We
is
don't
also,
know. Might seem on purpose to her.
Yes, and I can understand that anger being much stronger if she thinks that he did it on purpose, if she thinks that maybe he didn't want his son marrying her, possibly even.
We don't know. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think her feelings here needs to be validated a little bit. Like, that is horrible for her to feel that way, to feel the father-in-law is not fully on board with the idea and constantly grumpy about things that he's asked to do.
But he never said that he was grumpy towards her or towards their wedding. He was just grumpy when it had to do with him in the wedding.
Him in a family photo.
Yeah.
Does he
So
not want to be in the family photo? What was the reason?
Yeah.
Does he not like the photographer she hired? Or was he just purely worrying about photo being online?
Yes, and maybe it is his own self-image that he has issues with, for example. So if you would have said that, throughout the whole ceremony, he was very, sighing,
Disrespectful, or is it
disrespectful, or that's a very different story. But it didn't sound from her side of the story that he had an issue with the ceremony or the wedding itself. It sounded like he had an issue with anything that he had to do relating. And that's and I'm trying to make that differentiation.
Yes, yeah.
Because then it's not necessarily about her and her wedding, it's about him in that situation.
Okay, yeah, I see your point. I'm really curious what's the father-in-law's version now.
Okay, so let's hear what the father-in-law says. I'm in my late 60s, have health issues, am overweight, and find it very hard to stand on for long periods of time due to leg pain and general fatigue. I use a walker to assist me, but it doesn't help much. Over the years, I have had too many experiences of people saying things just for their own gain. Either if it's financial gain, power gain, ego gain, whatever. And honestly, I don't trust many people anymore. Even my son's first wife, which I really liked and thought was an honest person, cheated on him. Again, another proof to my lack of trust of humankind. My wife says that I became an old fart and don't really bother to put on a show for our friends and family. But I explain that I am sick and tired of the show and much prefer honesty. If our friends and family don't like me the way I am, they don't have to be with me. In reality, our long life friends keep the friendship going, as they like me for who I am, with all my issues and faults, as well as my humor and wisdoms. And between us, these are my real friends who I care about and have honest relationships with. Our son Don, who was very hurt from his ex-wife, fell in love with a cute girl, Leslie. I'm happy he was able to pick up the pieces and move on, and I hope for his sake that living with her for 4 years before getting married again assisted him in really checking her out and making sure that she will be honest with him. Personally, I like Leslie, although she's young and still naive about the world, believing too easily and following the social norms too much. But she's still young, and life will teach her life lessons. When Don told me that they were getting married, I was very happy for him. But when she started organizing this wedding with all the whistles and the bells, I was honestly a bit frazzled. It's Don's second marriage, and I thought he would be able to calm her down and not have the whole three-piece suit, which I can hardly fit in, and find myself sweaty and find it also hard to breathe in after about 30 minutes. My wife and I got married 40 years ago in the garden of my parents. We all wore our nice clothes, but it was a simple affair. Just fun, dances, food, and real conversation. I told Dawn at some point, why go all out? But Dawn explained that I need to remember that this is Leslie's first wedding, and she wants the bells and whistles, and he is respectful of that. I get where he's coming from, but that doesn't mean that I need to enjoy this show. Anyway, each to their own. I respect their decision, but expect them to understand that for me, it's not fun, but rather a physical nightmare. I have to say that I did suffer through the wedding. My legs hurt, I was sweaty and itchy. The photographer took forever when all I needed to do was to sit down. But I tried to be respectful and follow their wishes of being in that damn photos and look the part that they needed me to fulfill. I have to say that even my wife said I deserve a gold star for taking part in the show, which I usually never would do. It's weird. Since the wedding, Leslie seems to have distanced herself from the family. She hardly comes over, even to our lake house, which before the wedding she seemed to like. Not really sure what changed in her, but she does seem to be distant and cold. I hope everything's going well between them and that it's not impacting Don. He deserves to be happy again.
Well, that's it. That's the end of his story. That's interesting.
Well, firstly, I think it shows really well his personality and what's important to him, what his values are, but also it explains why he was so snappy.
The way he was.
with the photographer and everything. And I wonder if he actually voiced his difficulty. I mean,
to his son.
Well, he did ask Don why the bells and whistles, but he didn't really voice how hard this all will be for him.
Physically, we're talking about physically. Yeah, how hard is it for him? All he wanted to do is sit down. They probably wanted to post 10 different family photos, but all he wanted was sitting down. And if that's been communicated, I think both the wife and the photographer will be more mindful about that. Maybe they can arrange something. Some of the family members are sitting down, some of them are standing on the back. If they want photos, the photos can be done with him sitting or in a more comfortable situation for him.
Yeah, but he's also sweaty and itchy, which means that it was probably hard for him to smile and be very patient.
So it's
with
the
what's
dress
happening
code.
as
Sounds
well.
like it's the dress code as well.
Yeah. So it's not only the sitting part, which was obviously a big part, but it was also, he was very physically uncomfortable. And when you're itchy and you're sweaty, it's hard to keep up appearances, especially if you're not the posing kind of person. And obviously it's against his values almost. To be
To be photographed and then
to
maybe
pose and make the
photo
whole
online.
the whole
Yeah.
show kind of thing. That's not him. And when you have to do something that's not you, and you're respectful and you go along with it, obviously you might be respectful, but it might not come out as nice or as patient or as the bride would have liked it to be.
Do you think he would rather not go?
No, I don't think he wouldn't have wanted. From reading this, he was very happy for the wedding, and he was very happy for Dawn getting married. He probably
just
would have
didn't-
preferred a different kind of ceremony.
Backyard wedding.
Yeah, or a simpler one, or something that he didn't have to be in a three-piece suit or whatever in. But I think that he never said that he didn't want to go to the wedding or he didn't want to be there.
He made a few points of he's putting up with the show. Like he doesn't put up with the show anymore in life because he has a few good friends that who he can be true friends with. He doesn't want to put up the air quote show, but he suffered through this, and his wife says he deserves a gold star. I just find that really interesting but this show is not about you. You didn't design this show. This show is about your son.
100%. But you see, if his wife said that he deserved a gold star, and actually she said that because we want to believe that what they wrote here is honest.
Yeah.
Then that means that he really did above and beyond to
Than
what his usual self.
Yeah.
Which means that from his perspective, he tried to be as respectful as he can, although this is really not his forte. And this is really not what he's used to doing. So again, I can see the bride seeing that he wasn't honestly happy because he wasn't.
Yes.
But I can also respect him being respectful in the way he could in something that he really suffered through for his son and the bride.
Yeah, I see your point. But if we look in a bigger view, what are the parents' role when your kids are getting married? Like
To be there for your children, 100%. He was there for his children.
Okay.
Was he doing it in the best possible way? Probably not. Well, as per the bride, 100% not. But was he doing it in the best possible way he could under the circumstances? Well, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So
Maybe he needs a wheelchair. I don't know. If it's way too hard and makes him so uncomfortable,
and maybe what he
adjustments can be done.
But maybe what he actually should have done was be much more honest to begin with the couple and say, hey guys, I'm really happy that you're getting married. I'm really happy that you're doing it the way you want to do it.
Of course, yes.
Just take into account that because of my disability, I have X, Y, and Z type of problems. And if you want me to wear a suit, I will wear a suit. But you need to understand that means that I'll be very itchy and it'll be hard for me to breathe, which might impact on the level of patience I have. If you want me to stand up for longer than, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever he can, take into account that, and I don't want you to make decisions that are different to what you would like. But if you know how it impacts me, then maybe we can find a solution that will be good for all of us. The question is, would the bride, who is young and this is her first marriage, would she have been happy with that, or would she feel that that's him dictating how the wedding should be?
I have no idea. She might see him being manipulative. I don't know if, but at the same time, I do see what the point you were making, that he can present it in a way. I don't want you guys to change anything because, if they already booked the venues, already booked the day, then go ahead with it. But after everything they wanted to be organized and done before the actual wedding day, can there be some adjustments to make his experience a little bit better as the father of the groom of the day? Like, is there a wheelchair can be arranged for him to be pushed around rather than asking him to walk around? And if the venue is obviously, disability wheelchair accessible, that's okay. And is there a solution for him to rent some clothes that's comfortable for him for the day, rather than buying a brand new suit that some other people might do, but obviously he's not the suit wearing type? Then is there an option to do that?
Yeah. I mean, if we would take it to a very different direction.
Yes.
And let's say that Don had a brother who was autistic. Which
That could happen. Yeah.
And because he's autistic, he can't handle loud
music. Yes.
Or flashing lights or stuff like that. They would probably find ways to accommodate the needs of this autistic brother so that he can still be in the wedding, but in certain times he would wear
headphones
or
there are different rooms, separate room for him to go chill if he doesn't want to be in the bigger room or whatever. Yes.
If something becomes overwhelming or something like that. Very similarly, I think we need to look here at the father of the groom. He obviously has specific needs that if he voices honestly about, they could accommodate for.
Yes, the adjustments could be made. That's what I was saying, yeah.
And if those adjustments would have been made, then obviously he would probably be happier and act differently during the wedding.
Yeah.
And the bride possibly would have understood that it's not coming from manipulation, but rather because he actually has a disability and he actually needs these adjustments.
Yeah. And something just came to my mind that when they take family photos, maybe the ones they wanted to include the father-in-law, that can be done in the room that with aircon on.
For example. Excellent
Instead of herding everybody out in the sun, standing in the bright afternoon sun for an hour, that would obviously make him even more grumpy and more uncomfortable. Have the photo taken in an air-conditioned room, or something like that. There are so many adjustments they can do.
And actually, yes, the ceremony, I think, is for the bride and groom, and it's the job of the parents to be there for the bride and groom.
Yes, whatever they want. They want a beach wedding, they want a forest wedding, they want a mountain wedding, whatever.
But I also think that in a way, a wedding is about bringing the families together.
Yes.
And bringing the understanding and communication between each other. And if they would have been able to communicate before the wedding about all the needs and all the things, in a way it opens the relationship for the future of let's talk about the difficulties and find ways that will work for everyone.
Yes.
Which will then later in the relationship, as this couple continues to be together and possibly have children and other things like that, would make the whole relationship between the couple and the parents of both sides much more comfortable.
Yes. Well, obviously looks like they've slightly missed that step, but it's never too late.
Yes. So if... Going back to her original question, yes, it's hard for her to forgive, but if she now hears his side and looks at it not from her point of view of my wedding wasn't perfect, but rather, okay, now I can see it from his point of view, what was difficult for him. And yes, it's a shame he didn't voice it to begin with, so we didn't do the adjustments. But I understand that it wasn't against me or against his son or him just being difficult.
Yeah.
It was him really suffering physically.
Right.
Maybe she is ready now,
That
hopefully,
can
to
help.
forgive.
Yes, that's
Yes.
what I'm about to say. Yeah, that might be able to help with the forgiveness.
And then they can all move on and find ways to kind of feel more comfortable with each other.
Yes, definitely. And another thing I think we didn't discuss from her post is that she talks about, in general, this father-in-law person is not very, air quote, bright, believes some misinformation online. I see that happens within family dynamics like all the time. You might be from the same family, you might be really close, you might biologically related, but everyone's background and education level, it's so different, and everyone's value and perceptions are so different. You can be siblings, but you have completely different political views and different views when it comes to things like COVID.
Yep.
Does it matter for her? Should it be something that bothers her, that her father-in-law believes this sort of misinformation?
Look, it's not if it's okay or not okay. Obviously, it bothers her.
Yeah, should it? Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. It's
Yes.
okay or not okay. Who he is,
Yes.
she can't really change that.
But it's really about respecting someone, even if you don't necessarily think like them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you marry into a family, and basically even in your own family,
Yes.
these aren't necessarily the people you would choose to be your friends.
No.
These aren't necessarily the people that you choose to be your lifelong partners, but they become a very significant part of you, and a very significant part of your life for the rest of your life. So trying to avoid conversations about things that might really bother you.
You already know that you guys are not gonna have the same opinion. You might be triggered by what they're about to say. Yes.
Yes, and instead just respecting them for who they are. Remembering that you would never have your Don if it wasn't for his father. You know, and remembering that everyone has advantages and disadvantages, and everyone has, quirks, and so it's about finding what you can like about them, what you can respect about them,
Rather than looking at
annoys you.
specifically what annoys you. Yeah.
about them,
Okay.
and putting boundaries in place so that you'll be okay. So if you know, for example, when he'll start talking about COVID, it'll upset you, then decide that if he talks about COVID, you just walk out of the room for a moment and have a breather, or have a chat with someone else. And when the topic changes, you come back.
Not to be involved in that conversation. That's something she can do. Yes.
Yes. Or if the conversation goes to politics, try and change the topic, or something like that, in a respectful way. And remember that these people are people you need to respect, no matter what you think about them.
Yeah.
As-
And you don't have to be best friends with them.
Yes.
You can choose your best friends outside of this. Yeah.
Yes, but you still need to respect and have a relationship. Well, hopefully, with your family, because they will always be your family if you like it or not.
Yeah, he will always be your husband, father, whether you like it or not. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
If you also have a relationship dilemma that you are struggling with and you would like us to bring it up here anonymously, you can email us on bestpossibleme.podcast@gmail.com. You can also find the email address in our podcast bio. Don't forget to like and follow our podcast so you get the notification of each new episode. See you next week.